this was our dream vacation that we chose. For it, we chose to go to Ireland because it's full of a lot of history, a lot of cool relics and ruins and of like past castles and cool things.
The major airports are Dublin Airport, Cork Airport, and Shannon Airport, which Shannon is located in Clare, though the airports are located where they say they are. Major cities are Dublin, Leinster, which is the capital of Ireland. Cork, what is that, James? Munster. Dun, O'Hare, Leinster, Limerick, Munster, Galway. What's that, James? Connaught, yeah.
Those were the second thing to all those is just the province that they were located in.
Some major attractions are the Cliff of Moher, Crafton Street area, which is in Dublin, Kilmahan, Goal in Dublin, Belkin, Kinary. Location: it's an island in the eastern part of the North Atlantic, directly west of the United Kingdom. Next slide. The climate of Ireland. We have our graphs here. These two graphs essentially show the same information because one is the high and low average temperatures of Ireland for each month. The other graph is the average temperature overall each month in Ireland. The blue graph above is meant to show the rainfall of Ireland. As you can see, it shows the average amount of rainfall per month for Ireland as well as the average rain days per month as well. Next slide. What time of year we choose to go? We chose to go during the month of July because Ireland in general has somewhat of a colder climate. The time we need to go, we thought we would have the warmest time of the year, which would be a cooler temperature, unlike here in Tennessee. We found that July was the warmest average temperature, about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And Ireland, which caused us to choose July in the month we will visit Ireland. Next slide.
For travel budgeting, we had 2 round-trip plane tickets from the U.S. to Ireland with some stops in the middle, which was around $2,208.66, as well as we had car rental and excess insurance that we had to pay for, which was €683.64, but could just be translated back to $745. For gas, we had to set aside $247.76, which can be just $270 in the U.S. currency. Extra expenses, we had $250, which could be translated to €229.41, as well as we set aside an emergency fund of the same amount, so that in case anything broke down or anything like that. Other costs, the accommodations we chose were the West End Hotel in Dublin, Ireland. We chose the Superior King rooms for 2 rooms for 6 nights, because that's all we'll be staying, which would be like $5,343, as well as breakfast. We added breakfast for both rooms for $64 in total, as well as all these preceding costs are all 1 week estimates based off of the average costs that we found. The average cost of meals in Ireland was about $540, which we translated to €496.62, as well as the average costs to see the sites and attractions around Ireland was about the same amount. The extra costs that we decided to go with was $676, because the average that we found, we kind of just doubled it for both of us. and we translated that to €621 and .92, as well as we had an emergency fund of $500, which we translated to €458.82. The geographical information for the main place we'll be staying, which is Dublin, Ireland. It has a population of 1,345, or no, not 1,000, 1.345 million people. It has one of Ireland's major airports, named Dublin Airport, as well as the hotel we are staying in, the Westin, is located in Dublin. Here's the day-by-day itinerary. The first day we will board the flight. The flight will be JetBlue Airways, and we'll be boarding it at the Nashville Airport to travel to the Logan International Airport in Boston, Massachusetts. Then we'll go to the Aer Lingus at the same Aer Lingus at the same airport, and finally we'll have arrived in Dublin Airport, Ireland, in the Dublin Airport on July 8th at around 5 a.m. Now, July 8th, we'll be able to check into the Westin Hotel, and since we paid for the breakfast, we'd be able to get some breakfast because it would most likely be still early in the morning by the time we got checked in. Later, we traveled around the city to see what it had to offer because we decided that this day would just be used to kind of look around Ireland, sort of get settled, and we decided that Grafton Street would be an ideal place to look around because it's basically a famous street for all of its shops and its cool kind of local businesses and all that. And we kind of just spent all the extra money for this day just, on little souvenirs and food and stuff, as well as any attractions or sites that we found. We just tried them out. And then we went back to the hotel and on to day 3. We decided to drive to the cliffs of Moher. Granted, it was a 3-hour drive, which would take quite a while, but it was decidedly worth it to see them. The money for the gas was paid from the previous day's savings in gas because we were mainly just walking around in Grafton Street. Along the way, we got food for lunch because it was served for breakfast at the hotel. We spent most of the day seeing the cliffs, and finally we drove back to Dublin and used the money from the sites and attractions budget, since we didn't pay for a lot of sites and attractions, to get really good food, and then we went back to the hotel on day 4. For day 4, we thought it would be a good idea to visit Kilmainham, which is a prison from a really dark time in Ireland's history. In 1796, they basically locked up a lot of the people that couldn't pay for their train fares or couldn't pay for certain things, as well as it was a huge famine going on at the time. So a lot of the people that were starving and were caught up in this famine that couldn't pay for food were locked up in this prison, as well as in 1916, 1919, around there, there was an uprising that happened due to political strife at the time, and the leaders of this uprising were executed in the prison yard of this prison, as well as the admission to this site ended up being like £12 for both of us, which we could cover in the sites and attractions budget. After we visited that, we got lunch, then we just went around Ireland looking for cool stuff to see. Finally, after looking around for a while, we went back to the hotel on to day 5. Today we decided to visit the Dalkey and Killiney area. This area is more like, Dalkey is more like a small village, while Killiney is more like a sort of castle kind of area. And they're so close together that it's more of like we kind of just combine them. Because of our budget, we were able to get a few nice souvenirs with the extras money we had from the previous day. Because we didn't spend a lot on extras, because we mainly just visited the Cliff Moher, as well as during this small trip. We got food around that area, and then we went back to the hotel on to day 6. For day 6, we decided to visit the Bunratty Castle, and by extension, Folk Park, since they're both kind of connected. Which was about 2.5 hours of driving, but it seemed to be worth it. It was about £20 for admission for the both of us, which is kind of expensive, but oh well. We got lunch in the nearby area and then headed back to Dublin, and just for the remainder of the day, we spent our time in Grafton. Day 7, we realized we still had not spent a lot of the budget that we were supposed to, so we decided to just have a day where we went through and found the coolest and most expensive stuff in Ireland, or not in Ireland, but in Dublin that we could find and see if we could get it. As well as we set aside some money for good food for the whole day, as well as it was kind of just a fun day of, spending a bunch of money that we still had left over. And finally, the 8th day, we had breakfast at the hotel, then boarded the plane at the Dublin airport, and flew to Chicago, Illinois, to the O'Hare airport. Then we flew to the Nashville airport, and finally that concluded our trip. In total, we spent all the $15,000 that was given to us by rationing it out through the budget, as well as spending the extra that we had left over towards the end of the trip. Then we were also able to manage the money effectively to be able to go through and not run out halfway through. Hope you'll consider traveling to Ireland.